showed out, and we played a sound defense. I didn't see any of the possessions that we've seen in previous games where we just blew a coverage. I mean, we played pretty sound tonight and kept everything in front of us, and it worked out.
This is a series that has been, over the years, one that has come down to a lot of dramatic endings. Obviously, this one didn't. Had a lot of bizarre plays, had a lot of great players. This Auburn team will go down as not anywhere close to the best that we have seen out of that group. But I really hesitate, even with the limited offensive threat that they posed tonight, to dismiss a 30-point win over Auburn as anything other than a really decisive victory and a really positive thing. To wit, I understand the game was at Jordan-Hare, but 2 weeks ago, this team took the number one team in the country to the fourth quarter in a tie game. When you go blow that team out, when you completely seize control of the game from the very, very beginning, I can't dismiss that, even though I know that this is not one of the better Auburn teams that we've seen.
No, there's no doubt. Auburn always plays this close. It's always a tough game. I mean, when you think about Auburn, they recruit well. They play great defense. They're always, when you get Auburn, it's when they're lacking a quarterback. I don't know which quarterback's going to play, but beating them the way we beat them tonight is a definite confidence boost. The defense played well. I think, that's what we've been looking for. We needed the defense to have a game where they feel great about, and they feel good about what they did tonight.
Jaden Daniels, 325 yards through the air and 3 more touchdowns, another 93 yards on the ground. Since the season opener against Florida State, Daniels is now averaging over 400 yards of total offense a game.
He's the best player in college football right now.
And 4 touchdowns a game. No doubt. And I understand that LSU's 2 losses is probably keeping him out of the top of the Heisman conversation. But you're right, Rich. Nobody is playing any better than Jaden Daniels is right now. He looks in complete command of everything that they're asking him to do.
You take the records out, look at the stat lines, just that, you would say he's the best player in college football. I mean, we got a bad loss against Ole Miss. I mean, that's one that I was very upset about. It was a winnable game. We had our worst defensive performance all year, and I'm not saying that we've had great defensive performances this year, but I mean that game is such a big swing. And when you talk about the Heisman, I mean there's nobody playing better football than Jaden Daniels.
Right now, if LSU had beaten Ole Miss, I would say he would probably be right behind Michael Penix. Penix got a big win today.
He got a big win. Caleb Williams got a loss. He
played poorly tonight.
He played poorly.
3 interceptions.
It would be between Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels if we got that win.
It may very well be that way if LSU wins in Tuscaloosa in 3 weeks, but we'll get to that. The Tigers ran the ball exceptionally well tonight. Logan Diggs had nearly 100 yards. The Tigers averaged over 6 yards per carry. Kyron Lacy, who had been coming on in the last several weeks, you've talked about his blocking and how important that was down the field. Tonight he had some big plays, a 57-yarder. He caught 4 balls for 111 yards, and Daniels spread it around to a number of receivers. The backs got involved tonight. John Emery broke a 50-yard catch and run. Josh Williams had a receiving touchdown on a check down tonight. Mason Taylor very nearly got into the end zone. Aaron Anderson back in the lineup now and a couple of touchdowns. Yeah, faster. And LSU only punted 1 time on the night. Overall, about everything you could ask, we can certainly talk about things that they can get better at. That's always the case in football. But as wins go, this is everything you would have scripted for LSU. The defensive improvement is in large part due to one simple fact. They are tackling better than they did 2 weeks ago, last week, actually any week of the season. It's no accident. Why? Well, they're practicing it more now, as Brian Kelly told us after the game.
This game, has that just been more a matter of reps, or is there anything that you guys are doing differently?
We've taken a lot of air out of the offenses, in terms of gap integrity. We're flattening out much more of the gaps, so there's not a lot of space. So credit the front 7. The front 7 is doing a much better job. So now when safeties and corners are filling, they don't have huge areas to tackle in. We're creating better opportunities for them to get into tackling space. So it starts there, and then we're tackling 20 minutes a day now. Now, we're not bringing them on the ground because you can't do that. But we are fundamentally working on tackling every single day until we are in a position where we feel like we're going to tackle the football the right way. And that was the commitment that we had. We have to be able to continue to get better defensively, and those are kind of the priorities.
Great, Coach.
The cynic in me wants to ask what took so long, but
That's why I started laughing.
I'm just a little bit pleased that they finally are, but week 7.
There's no doubt. Week 7, we're tackling 20 minutes a day.
Great.
I love it.
Yeah, well, you've been practicing since the beginning of August. You might have forget it.
Yeah.
What's past is past. You can't go back and do it anymore. But and listen, in all seriousness, we've talked about the difficulties with practicing tackling. Goofy as that sounds, because you can really beat up your football team. You played for a coach that got accused of that a lot.
I was about to say, there's a lot of coaches that get beat up on for, hey, you practice them too hard in the offseason. And, tackling is one of those things that, everybody knows how to do it, but doing it full speed is as hard as it gets. And if you don't get those scrimmage reps, and what we did, I mean, with Les Miles, we tackled 2 days a week. We had full go reps. Is there a downside to that? Yeah, some guys get hurt, but I mean, you got to do it. And right now, I mean, whatever they did, 20 more minutes a day, they're practicing tackling 20 minutes is our best tackling performance all year long.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, all day long.
LSU able to run the football 39 times tonight, over 6 yards a carry, meant that Auburn's offense was on the field for only 61 snaps. Now, this is a number that's come down the last 2 weeks. Ole Miss, 88 snaps. Missouri, 68 snaps. Auburn, 61 snaps.
I'd like to look at the stats, but I mean, the last 2 weeks, we've almost had 15 more rush plays than pass plays. And is that something that the defensive coordinator, they all talked about? We need to slow it down, but we're definitely running the ball more. I mean, we're more run heavy right now than we've been pass heavy in the previous 4 games.
And they're running the football well. It's one thing to say run the football, but if you're running the football for 2.5 yards a carry, you don't get to run the football as often as you want to. They're running the football very well. It's also worth noting that they did this for most of the game without Emory Jones.
Yeah.
The initial reports on Jones are that he is this is an ankle injury. He was on crutches on the sideline. He did have the boot on. That's basically what we know right now. I saw the play. They showed the end zone view on the telecast. It was not one of those really gruesome things where you have to look away, but it ain't nothing either. I thought Lance Hurd held his own. There's a lot to ask of him. He hadn't really played as much the last 2 weeks. I thought he did. I thought he did a nice job.
No, he started a little slow, just trying to figure out where he was going. But I thought he played great. I mean, I didn't see a big drop off losing your starting right tackle, and that's usually when you lose a tackle, you see a drop off. But no, they played well, and I hope Emory Jones. From what I saw, I've seen a lot of injuries in my life. That one looks like it's something that's going to aggravate him, but it's something he can come back from.
Also, that with a non-conference game next week, a bye week the following week, he's got 3 weeks to get ready for Alabama if that's a possibility. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. We'd like to hear from you if you're stuck in traffic or if you've already made it home. 48-18, LSU is a winner. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front to back boat service.
Running Boards marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day as LSU wins it 48-18 tonight. 499-9898 is the LaBerge hotline number. Joel is in New Mexico, gets us started. Joel, welcome into the show. Joel, go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
How you guys doing? Look, just a question, real quick question. I don't know why Weeks wasn't playing this week, and he was delegated to the mop-up time. But if you guys could, I don't know if he was hurt, what's going on, but the guy's been great all year. Just trying to wonder why he was in the mop-up duty. Let's go, Brandon.
Omar Speights was back tonight, and I thought he was back for the first time really full since
it was the
maybe
best he's
week
looked
2.
all year.
Yeah, I agree with you that Weeks has played really well. But
100%.
Speights was a starter. He was brought in from Oregon State. He's a senior. That was his position.
And I'll say what I've seen from Brian Kelly, he's going to play the older guys. I mean, the guys that have been there, the guys that he feels most confident in, the guys that been through the racket. I mean, I'm with you 100%. I think Weeks is our best defensive linebacker right now. I was asking the same thing, but that's what Kelly's done so far. He's going to play the older guy.
There were, like John Emery played tonight more than he has played in any game this year. They're getting some other guys some work. We like Weeks, but Speights is the senior.
He played well,
and he did. Play
I love
well.
Weeks.
Yes. Craig is in New Iberia. Craig, welcome into the show.
Yeah. Talking about, I've got a question. Okay, if LSU runs the table, okay, we beat Alabama, which firmly believe we're going to beat Alabama. This offense is, really, really strong. I don't see Alabama's defense slowing us down. I think we have a really good chance of running the table. If we run the table and we win, let's say hypothetically we win the SEC outright, beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, because this Auburn team came within 7 points of Georgia, and this team wasn't within, was 30 points away from LSU. If we run the table, we go all the way, we win the SEC, is LSU in the playoffs? I'm going to hang up and listen.
It's a great question. We haven't yet seen a 2-loss team make the playoff, but we haven't seen a 2-loss team win the SEC either.
We also haven't seen an SEC champion not make the playoff.
Yeah, but we haven't had one with 2 losses.
Yeah.
So this comes down probably to a lot of things. And listen, there's so far to go, but I understand the question. It depends on how many other, undefeated teams you have. Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State out of the Big Ten all got to play each other. So you get one unscathed out of there. What does the ACC look like? North Carolina won again tonight. They're 6-0. Florida State won today. They're 6-0. So you got those teams. Washington beat Oregon today. USC got knocked from the ranks of the unbeaten. Is Washington going to run the table? They may have to see Oregon again in the Pac-12 championship game. So there's a lot of external things, and I think I covered all of the undefeated teams. Louisville lost today, but they weren't really going to be a factor anyway.
It's almost any other year when the SEC is strong, you can look for 2 teams to come out. But, what was the storyline before this week and before the previous 2 weeks? It's a weak SEC this year. We've had a lot of Alabama's not Alabama. Florida's not Florida. LSU's not LSU. It's one of those years. It's like, can you really put 2 teams in the SEC in there?
You would essentially be playing a game of measure and stick, a 2-loss SEC champion against a 1-loss non-Big Ten, ACC, or Pac-12 champion. Let's assume that the champions of those 3 teams, of those 3 leagues, are going to get in. All right. I have a hard time believing, with the strength of those 3 leagues and the teams I just talked about at the top, that those league champions are not going to get in.
It's really hard to say that Georgia runs it out the rest of the time. A 1-loss Georgia and a 2-loss LSU team that beats them in the SEC championship is.
I can give you a scenario where it doesn't happen. And that scenario is you get an undefeated team out of the other 4 power conferences. Washington, Oklahoma, Michigan, and Florida State. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you get 4 undefeated teams, which, look, we got a lot of football to play. We're not
halfway through.
We're halfway through the season. If you got 4 undefeated teams out of those 4 leagues and the SEC champion was a 2-loss LSU, no, they're not getting in.
Yeah.
Now, the odds of 4 teams getting to the end undefeated, it hadn't happened in my lifetime. So, and when you're adding in conference championship games.
And when you've watched the football that's been played, these undefeated teams, a lot of them is skirted by pretty close. There's a lot of football left to be played, like you're talking about.
I just right off the top of my head, I would say an 11-2 SEC champion with wins against Alabama and Georgia would have probably a 2/3 to 3/4 chance to get in the playoff if they did that. I can't guarantee. I can't make it any higher than that. In fact, that may be a little bit too high.
I think it's too high.
You got a lot of undefeated teams left, but a lot of them going to play each other.
Well, in the Pac-12, this is the strongest Pac-12 we've seen in a while. We're saying a strong Pac-12. They're playing good football out there right now. It's the hardest question we've had in the last 10 years. Usually, 2 SEC teams is not a big question, a big doubtful. Right now, it's kind of tough with as many undefeated teams there are.
The Pac-12 took a hit today, though, as far as the playoff is concerned. The conference is still very strong, but they lost an undefeated in USC to a non-conference game. Now, somebody had to lose between Oregon and Washington. I consider those teams almost dead equal. That was a beautiful football game today. And UCLA lost again, who was, has the number 1 defense in the country. We got a long way to go. It's possible, but I can't tell you any more decisive than that.
To be talking about LSU making a national championship after our last 3 shows is pretty crazy.
Yes. 2 weeks ago, you couldn't get off the field at Ole Miss. But I understand the optimism. There's good reason for it. The games against Florida and Texas A&M, Florida won today, but it was all they could do. They got a tipped ball that really kind of saved them on the last drive. They scored the touchdown against South Carolina, and Texas A&M lost. Neither one of those teams strike offensive fear in your heart. They both got to come here. So essentially, you feel good about that, and you certainly should win the 2 non-conference games. This does come down to, can you beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa? And Arkansas had their shot today.
There's no doubt. I mean, Alabama is the last team on the schedule that you feel like can put you in that conversation, because Florida's been all year long. I mean, you got to play them. Texas A&M with Max Johnson, I mean, he had a rough game today. It's another one of those, it's like, are they that good? Alabama is where it is. I mean, you got to win those 2 and then beat Alabama pretty handily, in my opinion.
Yeah, Georgia's a very meh 5-2.
Yeah,
but they're 5-2.
Exactly. You've watched the Georgia games, and there's a lot of those games. Kentucky's the only time they've looked dominant.
They got boat race, and then Kentucky loses tonight to Missouri. That helps LSU. Missouri 6-1, with the only loss to LSU last week. There's a lot of layers to it. I can't game out every scenario for you right now. But they got a shot. They got a shot.
The hard part is the SEC just doesn't look that good this year.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not as good. They don't have that one dominant team at the top, and they don't have quite the depth that they usually do. Look at a team like Arkansas. How frustrated do they have to be? This is 4 weeks now. Lead in the fourth quarter against BYU, at home, lose. 10-point lead in Tiger Stadium, lose. Fourth quarter lead at Ole Miss, lose. And you had a drive. You had the ball with a chance to take the lead in the fourth quarter in Tuscaloosa, and you lose. That's an 0-4 team.
And you've been talking about firing Sam Pittman. I mean,
I hadn't been talking about firing Sam Pittman.
There was one time Jimmy got onto you a little bit about it.
No, what I said, Jimmy's got a bad habit of putting words in my mouth. What I said was that there are rumblings up in Fayetteville that if Pittman comes in with a record that is sub 500, that there is a significant reduction in the buyout of his contract.
And I agree with you, but when you watch, I mean, look, Arkansas has always been a tough place to compete, but they're playing these games close. They played LSU to a score. They're playing Alabama to a 1-score game. I mean, they're losing right now. They've lost their last 3 games, but they've lost them against good talent and played close games.
It'll be a fun second half of the season. Yeah, don't
I'm ready for the second half.
Yeah, well,
at home. 4 or 5 more
at home. Tiger Stadium, good win, a lot of traffic. Here we go.
Watch the game.
Yes.
Second half at the studio.
Yes. Oh, gosh. We are brought to you in part by AJ Sports Cards, located off Drusilla, open from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturdays from 9:30 till 2. Football, baseball, and basketball cards, and a good variety of Pokemon cards. Also, with new products coming in every week, some of the high-end products in stock. And for all you collectors out there, the supplies you need, like cases and shelves. And during the month of October, they'll be running a silent auction. Proceeds going to the American Cancer Society. You can bid on items including a Dylan Cruz signed LSU helmet, an Angel Reese framed signed LSU jersey with 2 signed pictures, and a Joe Burrow framed signed LSU jersey. The auction ends on Halloween at 6 p.m. Bidders need to come into the store to place their bids. You can also check them out on Facebook, AJ Sports Cards 225. Take a break. More of your phone calls when we come back. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. LSU a 30-point winner tonight over Auburn. 499-9898 is the number to call. Michael is in Baton Rouge on the LaBerge hotline. Michael, welcome into the show. Michael?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hello? Hanny?
Yeah.
Hey, Hanny.
Hey, bud.
Couple of things I'd like to say. First off, I had the opportunity to see Logan Diggs in person. That young man is a grown-ass man. Triceps, legs. He is a NFL running back right now.
Yeah, they work out all the time, man.
Man, it's a blessing to have him play football for Louisiana State University. Don't know how he escaped and got out to Notre Dame. Glad he's back home. Big fan. Also, I'd like to say Brian Kelly in general. A lot of people, I feel like, forget where this program was. Hanny, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to know, what were you doing about 2.5, almost 3 years ago, when LSU was playing Kansas State, and we were sitting at home in a cold Baton Rouge day watching John Trey Kirkland, loved that guy to death, play quarterback for this program, and we had Brian Kelly coming in as a head coach, and this program was just in dismay.
Well, actually, I know exactly where I was. I was sitting exactly where I am right now. As a matter of fact.
Spot.
Thank you, Michael. Listen, he's done a fine job, and this was not the easiest turnaround. You had a lot of stuff to do. It's just a different landscape of college football now when it comes to rebuilding a program. It's not like it was even 5 years ago. It's not even like when Ed Orgeron took over for Les Miles, which really wasn't a rebuild as much as it was a retool of some of the philosophies. Now, not only are you recruiting to the transfer portal, but you're having to play defense with your roster every single day. And that's what makes it tough. And I know that Deion had a lot of success early on turning over the amount of players he did, but it was because his roster was terrible. It's not really what he wanted to do.
Nobody wants to do
Nobody
that.
wants to. But you're going to be forced to turn over larger fractions of your roster than you ever have before, even for successful programs.
There's no doubt. And, just back to the comments he made, I'd say that Logan Diggs, you talked about his triceps and biceps. I mean, he didn't mention his glutes, because that's what it makes a running back. He's worried about his thighs, legs, and running power. I mean, the guy just drives so hard. He's one of those guys that his legs never stop moving. Logan Diggs has been what we've wanted to see out of a running back for the last 2 years. He's one of the guys that makes the hard yards look easy. He slips. He's a guy I really think has progressed this offense.
And if it's all the same to you, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about Logan Diggs' glutes, but I do agree he's a terrific back. And I think he's a complete back.
No, he's a complete back.
He's a very good pass blocker. He's a very good receiver, and he
complements Josh Williams really well. 27. I mean, Josh Williams is a guy that is so smart. He doesn't miss a block in the backfield, but he also is able to catch balls out the backfield. Logan Diggs gives you the running threat, the passing threat, and the pass blocking ability. I mean, he's a guy that he's a every down back, and that's what everybody wants.
Keith is in Birmingham. Keith, welcome into the show.
Going.
Hey, Keith.
Hey, I agree with everything about Logan Diggs, but I like the way that John Emery and Caleb Jackson look when they got a couple touches, especially on that kick return. Caleb Jackson is very explosive.
How about the little touch pass to Caleb Jackson?
Caleb's a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, you know where I'm at on that. I love Caleb Jackson.
Yeah, I was really, really, really excited to see Lacey have a breakout game, because that third threat in the receiver game is what gives defenses, like, it forces you to place a lot of defensive backs on the field like they had to do in 2019, which opens up the run game, and we have some capable running backs, and then we have Mason Taylor. So if they keep improving, especially on that defensive side, the tackling look better. Yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting in T-Town. I think they can win. I think they can win there.
No doubt.
Florida looks better. So, the week after is going to be a big one. Florida's going to come in ready. They've lost 4 straight. It's going to be the last time they play annually for a while. So they're going to have to be able to go back to back.
It's not going to be – look, no Southeastern Conference games are just complete layups, but if they gave up 39 points to South Carolina, I'll take Jaden Daniels 10 times out of 10 over Spencer Rattler, so I feel pretty good about that game. Let's talk about Kyron Lacey for a minute, though.
He got blessed by the football gods tonight. I mean, what he did last week, people aren't talking about. His stats didn't show last week, but he made so many big plays last week in the blocking ability. I mean, his route on an inside route where it got Mason Taylor loose. He had a couple big blocks down the road where he got Jaden Daniels loose. I mean, when I went back and watched the film, and we did it on the Monday podcast with the Hennicast, he was phenomenal. He made so many big plays that is never going to show up on a stat sheet. The football gods blessed him tonight because he did so much work in the last previous games without getting the ball. He was the guy that got to shine tonight.
He's had problems with drops, okay, and he had one tonight. But the big plays overrode that. And without Chris Hilton, he is the number 3 guy, and he's going to see a lot of time. And he's got that kind of ability. So I was happy for him. He's come along. He and Miles Frazier, from the first 2 games to the last 3 games, monster improvement. Max is in Baton Rouge. 499-9898 is the number to call. Max, welcome into the show.
Hey guys, I got a comment and a question. First is we call in all the time and tell y'all all the things we would do better if we were in charge of LSU football. So I think it's good to admit when we were wrong. I'm one of the people who wanted to see Zay Lance hurt all year, and he definitely did some good things tonight. When it's a run play and he can get going downhill, he's great. But there's a reason Emory Jones is in there, and that's one of those reminders that sometimes the coaches are a little smarter than you. And I think on some of the pass protections, especially when he first came into the game, you saw a difference. So that's one big takeaway leaving this game tonight is Army maybe not so important, but 3 weeks from now, can Emory be back on the field? Or with maybe 3 weeks of practice and development as the starter, can Lance Hurd take over that spot? But I'll give it up to Brian Kelly. He might know a little bit more about football than I do, so that's something I learned tonight. And then one question for you guys. It's nice to have Hugh Freeze back in the conference, but, for somebody with that high a profile, I know security is a big concern. Do you think they hired a couple of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, escorts to help them get back to the hotel safely?
See what you did there.
I love it.
I like it when people inject a little bit of humor.
That's a good way to do it, too.
Into the deal. When we were talking about Hurd getting into the lineup, it was more about him replacing Frazier and,
it was Frazier,
and Jones sliding down the guard. Yeah. As far as going back saying, hey, listen, I was wrong about this thing. I get that a lot if we're critical of somebody who doesn't play well, or you're critical of a coaching decision, and then they improve, and inevitably somebody can say, well, what you got to say now?
Yeah.
Here's what I got to say. Miles Frazier did not play well in the first 2 games. It's not even really debatable.
He played awful in the first game.
Yeah, okay. He has played really well in the last 4. So what I'm going to say is what I see of him playing. It doesn't mean that we were wrong after that he played poorly against Florida State.
What it tells you is, you weren't there for all the practices. They saw how good he was in practice.
Right.
You don't get to see that. You get to see 12 games a year, and you get to judge everybody on what they do on a Saturday night. You don't get to see the 30 practices they had before that Saturday night. And obviously, Frazier was the best one going into that game. They didn't go in saying, you know what, Hurd's better, but we're going to start Frazier here. That's not what happened. Frazier had a rough first game, had a rough second game, honestly. And then when they started bringing Hurd in, pushing Emory Jones down, he got the pressure put to him. And all credit to Frazier. He's played lights out the last 3 games. He's improved his stock. He's playing as good as they can be. And the best ability is to play your way into where they can't take you out the game.
And that's what he's doing. Yeah. I got no problem giving a kid credit when he does well. We're gonna say when we don't think he's playing well. Just to be honest, it's not. I don't think he's a bad kid.
I tell you all the time.
Hey, he's struggling. Okay.
I hate talking bad about a college player, but I'm going to tell you when I don't think they're doing well. And we said that a lot. In the first game, Frazier played awful. The second game, he gave us reason to ask for Hurd to get into the game. 3, 4, and 5, I don't want to take Frazier out.
Right. It doesn't mean that we think he's a bad kid, or anything. Hey, right now he's struggling. So when you say, well, what do you got to say about him now? I got to say he's playing good.
Yeah.
I'll
playing lights out.
And the same thing with Lacey. Lacey was dropping balls at the beginning. He was dropping balls at the end of last season. Was dropping balls. Now, not really. Well, he had 1, but not really dropping balls and blocking downfield and
the
doing all
blocking
this
down the field. Everybody talks about running backs and quarterback runs. Those plays do not happen without receivers blocking down the field, and Kyron Lacey is blocking better than anybody down the field, which helps us out.
499-9898 is the number on the LaBerge hotline. Jimmy is in Gretna. Jimmy, welcome into the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, I'll make it real quick. I want to paint a quick picture to the listeners. I've never called in. I'm actually a Southern Miss alum, and I haven't been to an LSU game since about 7 years ago when you guys crushed us at Tiger Stadium. Look, I was compelled to come to this game, guys, because I'm a fan of football, and I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I think he's a great quarterback. There's 2 really great college quarterbacks in the state, Michael Pratt for Tulane and Jaden Daniels. They both have a lot of experience. I think that's why they're so special. But, I want to get y'all's take on this. So many times nowadays the pundits call these quarterbacks dual threats. And the reality is we know coming through high school, and even college. They're just faster and stronger. But the reality is they're really run-first guys. They're not really burn you with the arm. But the thing about Jaden Daniels that makes him impressive to me, again, my wife went to LSU. I'm a Southern Miss guy. But what makes him stick out to me is he is a true dual threat, okay? He's a guy who's got the defense on their heels. They're not blitzing him because they're scared he's going to throw over them. He burns you with his arm, and if he needs to, he can run all over you. And that's the true definition of a dual threat. Most of these guys are run first. They're really single threat at best, and everybody just puts 9 in a box and stops them. But Jaden Daniels is a true dual.
All right, we lost him, but we got the gist.
100% agree.
We got the gist. The number one thing about Daniels coming into the season, and even going back to the beginning to middle part of last season, was he going to throw the ball down the field? Was he going to be decisive? Was he going to be accurate? Brian Kelly talked about it. He started to make some progress really in the second half of the Tennessee game, even though they lost. He got better. And you can look at his game tape from last year and his game tape from this year, and you know this guy spent all summer throwing the football. He is more accurate. He's more decisive. And the running ability didn't go anywhere. All of that is still there, and it scares the hell out of you.
It's a confidence issue for him. And he finally gained that confidence. And I sat here after Florida State. He did not throw the deep ball. He was scared to throw the deep ball. The 2 or 3 he had, he underthrew. I think Mississippi State is where everything changed. Brian Kelly told him, I mean, we've seen it all along. He's been in him saying, I want you to do it. Mississippi State, he threw the deep ball. They connected on a few. His confidence is skyrocketed, and that's the biggest change in him. He's finally got that confidence in the deep ball.
I'll add one other thing to that. The first game against Florida State, they had no run game to speak of outside of Daniels. Diggs was not available for that game. And throw the Grambling game out. When they got to Mississippi State, he finally had some offensive balance to go with him, and I think that helped him out an awful lot. 499-9898 is the number to call. We'll take a break. More of your phone calls when we return. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air, fall. is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. LSU wins at 48-18 tonight. Before we go back to the phone lines, we give you a quick election update. Brian Haldane from Talk 107.3, our sister station. Brian, we have a governor-elect.
We do
and
have.
The 5 major races that were going on tonight. We have results on all of those.
Yeah, let me run them down for you. It was a night of blowouts at the top of the ballot, to be sure. I guess it was a night of blowouts at Tiger Stadium as well. Jeff Landry pulling in 52% of the vote. Very surprising to a lot of folks in that we will not need a runoff for governor. Landry pulls in 52% of the vote. He's over 500,000 votes, 547,000 and change. Sean Wilson finished second at 26% of the vote. I think that's part of the surprising part is that the Democrat in the race couldn't garner 30%. Also, we won't need a runoff for Lieutenant Governor. Billy Nungesser retains his job with 66% of the vote there. Now, when you start to move down the ballot a little bit, here's where you're going to have some runoffs. John Fleming is going to have to square off against Dustin Granger coming up on November 18th. Then that's for treasurer. Attorney General Liz Murrell is going to be going up against Lindsey Cheek in the runoff. And then for Secretary of State, we're looking at Gwen Collins Greenup versus Nancy Landry. Those are going to be the two that are squaring off in that race. And, statewide, turnout was low. Turnout was low overall. So
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic in Baton Rouge today, but I guess that had a lot to do with the football too.
Yeah.
LSU wins by 30, Southern wins by 27, and
Jeff Landry wins it without a runoff.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
just a full day of blowouts.
You've had a full day.
Oh, yeah, it's been a bit of a day.
Get some rest.
Absolutely. We'll be breaking down all of them, statewide, local races, constitutional amendments. We'll be doing it all on my show Monday morning.
Talk 107.3.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you much. 499-9898 is the number to call. Jeremy is in Opelousas. Jeremy, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Good.
I have a few thoughts about the game. I think the police need to teach our defense how to tackle.
You didn't think they tackled better tonight?
Oh, well, that's the other thing. I thought our defense made some stride. We gang tackled. We batted balls down. I mean, it's still a work in progress, but I saw a lot of things that I like. It's clear to see that they are improving. And then speaking of improving, I wanted to hear your thoughts on special teams, because there's a lot I like, but there's a lot that still is left to be desired. And I just want to tell y'all thank you, and thank y'all for getting me home. Y'all great, and go Tigers.
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. I just got the joke. It's late for me, too. The police tackled the idiot that went out on the field tonight.
Great tackling. Great form tackling.
Yeah. You tell me about the special teams. Auburn got loose on a couple of kick returns. It was a little bit more than you wanted. Caleb Jackson had a really nice 60-yard kick return that set up a scoring drive. LSU's not getting much out of their punt return game. They didn't have a punt return tonight. Bramblett's fine. Ramos is fine.
It's just
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's not. I would like to see them get something out of the punt return game, but I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that's probably not going to happen.
We're catching the ball.
It's not rolling forever.
We're not fumbling the punts. We're not muffing punts right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting whatever. I mean, what we're not getting, I would rather take what we have.
It's not perfect, but it is.
It's not explosive.
Way better than it was last year.
I mean, we're waiting for the big punt returns, whatever. I mean, we're not getting that right now, and I don't need it. With the way the way the offense plays right now, I want to fair catch everything, and I feel confident that we can move the ball down the field.
Didn't they do that in 19 at some point, Stingley, after the Auburn game? It was the Auburn game.
They had a drop ball, and they're like, look, I would rather you let it go.
Yeah, Stingley dropped the ball. It was in the Auburn game, now that I'm remembering this. And after that, he fair caught everything because it's, hey, give the ball back to this offense. And it's the same thing this year.
It's the same thing. When your offense is this dominant and this explosive, you don't need a return game. You need a return game when you're playing with an average offense and a great defense.
Yeah, I'd rather have it, but it's not.
It's not something that we're missing right now.
499-9898 is the number. Jonathan's in Baton Rouge. Jonathan, welcome into the show.
Hello, fellas.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, I want to say that we got to be consistent about how we critique, because one time we had a lot of people that was questioning whether the players was good enough, and I argued that they just needed a little bit more coaching. From what I can see now is that when they brought in P. Jenkins, which helped out a whole lot on the defensive line, and from what I can see now, I can see the coaching has really gotten a lot better because the kids are responding better, and LSU is a better team now. So we're going to have to be consistent with, because I didn't like that when a lot of people say that the kids wasn't good enough to play, and I argued the fact that LSU was in the top 5 recruiters in the country. So things are getting better, and the Tigers are moving on. Go Tigers.
Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Let me just say that who you play against matters.
Yes.
And Missouri's better than Auburn, and Ole Miss is better than Auburn. And I'm pretty sure that Alabama's better than Auburn. And I don't know if Florida,
Gramblin's offense might be better than
Florida
Auburn.
and Texas A&M, I don't know if they're better than Auburn. It probably depends on where they would play. So, look, the Pete Jenkins thing has helped. They've improved. That's what
I'll tell you what's helped.
coaching. They're better now than they were a month ago.
Mason Smith got a tackle on a sideline on a screen. His durability, what am I saying? He's in shape.
His athleticism.
No, I'm not saying that. Like his endurance is what I'm looking for. He's got more endurance right now. He's playing to the whistle. He's a guy that we talked about. We needed. I said 4 games early on. It took him 5, but he's playing to where.
We thought he played well last week, though.
But I think tonight he was even better.
Okay.
I mean, he's a guy that keeps on growing. When I see him making tackles on a wide receiver screen on the sideline, that's a guy that has energy. He's got want to. I mean, earlier on, his second of game back, he was walking to that guy, and he was sprinting it down, making plays on the sideline. They're crowding the ball better. Look, I think the defensive line is playing better. We're talking about Pete Jenkins. They're still not playing great. I'm still seeing them stay on blocks too long. They're not making moves to get off blocks. They're not wearing out the offensive line. I think they're getting better, but I mean, it's a little bit at a time. I talk about 5% better each week. They were another 5% better this week.
499-9898 is the number. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show. Jules?
Hola, amigos. It took a second for the connection to come through.
Okay.
Hey, Richard, the police tackle well because they practice tackling.
Do they?
Hey, it's a great win, but really, they're sloppy. All of these illegal procedure penalties and that roughing the passer or a late hit out of bounds, which I saw coming. I knew the guy was going to go ahead and push him, but it's just sloppy. They could be a lot better team if they just cut all of that out. But anyway, Charlie, earlier I heard you ask, I think it was Matt, about maybe like the best Auburn game since we're not going to be playing them. And I'll take you back to when I was 14, 1969. That's the team that went 9-1 and got squeezed out of the bowl because of Notre Dame.
Damn Irish, yeah.
And Auburn came into Baton Rouge with Heisman trophiest Pat Sullivan and Terry Beasley, the All-American wide receiver. And Charlie Mack opened up the playbook on the first play from scrimmage. He had backup QB Jimmy Gilbert at tailback, tossed him the ball, and he threw a touchdown to Andy Hamilton. LSU went on to win 21-20 thanks to a blocked field goal and a blocked PAT by middle linebacker George Bevan.
George Bevan, yeah.
Good God, y'all got better memories than any football player in the country.
Well, I had George Bevan on the show when I first started doing this.
I can't remember any game the way y'all remember these games.
Well, that was one of the great plays. And I'm sure, Jules, you remember also that Pat Sullivan came an eyelash away from being the LSU coach in 1994. You remember that?
I didn't know he was that close to
it. They had a press conference called. It was a clause in the contract that he couldn't get out of over at TCU. He was going to be the LSU football coach before DiNardo. When DiNardo got the job, they had sent out a notice for the press release, and the press conference was set up. Sullivan was on his way to Baton Rouge. He was going to be introduced as the next LSU coach, and then Joe Dean found out that Sullivan expected LSU to pay the buyout. Dean said,
It
Sullivan
got that far, they didn't know who was doing the buyout?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
They sent us a notice that, hey, be at the administration building tomorrow at whatever time it was. We're going to announce the new LSU coach. And we said, okay. And then about, 4 or 5 hours later, it was like, no, cancel the press conference. We're starting over. Yes. I remember that one very well. Jules, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And Jules, y'all's football memory blows my mind because I've been doing this long enough to where Jules calls in every week.
Yeah.
And the stories y'all bring up, I tell everybody, like, well, what do you like about doing the show? I said, they know more about the games I played in than I do.
Well, I didn't see the 69 game live the way Jules did.
And
but
you still
I
know
have,
about it.
Yeah, I've read my fair share of the stuff that I didn't get a chance to see. But the Sullivan press conference thing, no, I was there for that in 1994, and I will take no more criticism from all the people in this room, none of whom were here in 1994. I know I've already gotten all the old jokes tonight.
I was 7.
Yeah, and I think everybody else was not yet with us. Okay, but no, that was my second year on the beat here in Baton Rouge. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice. Those guys been around a long time, back since the 1930s, supplying rice to Louisiana residents. And supporting our Louisiana farmers is very, very important to us. They've been doing this stuff down in Southwest Louisiana for a long, long time to ensure that future generations of farmers have the same benefits. They're part of the Climate Smart program that is trending towards water conservation and emissions reductions. Pick up Supreme Rice at all of your AG food stores, your Walmarts, and your Rouses. You can come by Rouses before pregame and make it for tailgating, whether it be your jambalayas, your etouffees, your red beans, your gumbos. Make it with Supreme Rice. The brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine. They're all delicious. Pick your favorite one. You're going to save some money, and you're going to get more for your dollar. For more information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor, so you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast? All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues. LSU wins at 48-18 tonight. 499-9898, the LeBears hotline. Jake is in Grand Prairie. Jake, welcome into the show.
Good evening, Mr. Charles. How you doing tonight?
Good, Jake. How are you?
Oh, it's a good night to be a Louisiana citizen. We got a new governor. LSU beat Auburn's butt. Only thing that was sad was the fact that we accumulated over 100 yards in penalties. I mean, we can't be doing that against anybody, especially we're still trying to compete for an SEC West championship.
I can't argue the fact that 12 penalties for 100 yards is not a lot, and not too many. Rich, which one of the penalties bothered you the most?
I'm going to say that we complained about not enough penalties in the first games, not being aggressive enough. They had 2 in the first 2 games. It's a balance. I think we had too much tonight. I don't like offensive penalties. If I'm going to get an offensive penalty, I want it to be the one like we had against Will Campbell, driving the guy into the third row.
Right.
Procedure penalties are the ones that aggravate you, but I'm not going to read too much into it. I mean, we need aggression. This is a team that's lacked aggression. But I mean, some of the procedure penalties I'll shake back, but I'm not going to complain about it tonight.
It just seemed like I watched games today that had a ton of penalties.
Before I forget, we were texting about during the game. The gosh darn clapping penalty is BS. I'm sick of it. If you call that on the middle linebacker, the D tackle, the D end, you don't call it on the safety outside the hashes looking at the corner. That's ridiculous.
Is it me, or did this start like 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago is when it started. I've never seen this call.
It's always been a penalty. Okay,
It's one of the things
that doesn't
it
get
happened. They had an SEC meeting. They were like, "Hey, we got to start calling it."
Point of emphasis.
And then all of a sudden it explodes, and they call
4
it in every
times
game.
last week, and they called it on both sides.
The most times I've ever seen it called in a season, and then to see the one tonight was the most egregious one to me because I went back and watched the play. He's outside the hashes. He's playing 10 yards deep.
Is Andre Sam?
Is Andre Sam.
Yeah.
His head is completely turned. He's clapping towards the sideline. That's too much. I get that it was a point of emphasis. They're going to call it, but it's got to be something that's got to correct itself.
It just seems like I watched a lot of penalties today. I watched all of Tennessee and A&M while
There's
we were
penalties all over today.
24 penalties, I think, in that game for 200 yards worth. And then we watched Notre Dame and USC while we were getting ready for this. Another 14 penalties in that game for 125 yards. It seemed like we had some flag-happy crews today. But some of this stuff was legit.
I got to give you a better answer on Monday. I got to go back and watch when each was thrown. I'm looking at the stat sheet now. There's a lot of flags, but I don't see any just egregious ones where I'm like, okay, outside the impediment to the snap count.
Yeah, right. This was the worst call we've ever seen. But if you're going to start to emphasize that, tell us.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've told the coaches, but tell us. Say, hey, listen, this has been a problem where we've got
I
got
can't
too many
see
people
where it's a problem. Like, go back and watch that one. He's outside the hashes. That's not one.
No, that didn't seem like.
No,
that's one of those ones you're just going to call.
Exactly.
When they started talking about blows to the head and neck being
you saw them thrown everywhere.
If somebody so much as grazed a face mask with a fingernail, they called it.
Well, it's like one of those. Hey, we need to start calling this becoming a problem.
They're trying to retrain you to play the game a certain way. And listen, is it not just kind of a natural
defensive clap?
Yeah,
forever.
It's kind of a natural
action,
right?
When you're in a crowd of 100,000 people and you're trying to get someone's attention, the first thing you do is start clapping your hands. It's the loudest noise you can get. And I get it when it's a guy in the front seven. I think it should be a call inside the box. You can't call it outside the box. I mean, the one tonight was stupid.
499-9898 is the number. Mac is in Tennessee. Mac, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys, I enjoy your show so much.
Thank you.
I'm sitting here in Middle Tennessee. Of course, I was raised a Tennessee fan. Saw my first Tennessee game in '55.
Wow. Cannon got in '59, right?
Well, '59, I was over at my aunt's house on Halloween night as a child. A young child. I was probably 11, and I turned the radio on and I listened to LSU in Mississippi, and I was hooked on LSU. And so I was a two-team guy, for a long time. And then Tennessee did some dumb things like knife Johnny Majors in the back to get Phil Fulmer in there. Bad hires there in a row. And so about since 2012, I've not followed Tennessee much. I mean, I watch their games because all my family are Tennessee fans.
I know what you're happy
I got to tell
person.
you this really quick story. I teach art at a senior citizen center, and the other day my director said, "Hey, I've got a new girl coming in, lady," and she walks in the door. I had my LSU hat on. It's the 2012 BCS Bowl hat, and she looks up and she goes, "Oh my God, you know what? I have left LSU, but I think I found a new home." So she was so excited that she had an LSU fan as her teacher, and that's all we talk about. We talk about a little art, and we talk about a lot of LSU. So enjoy your show, and I'll let you guys get on with it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mac. The only thing that bothers me about this call is that you kept that hat. Everything from the 2012 BCS championship game should be burned.
I don't want to talk about it. I mean, the only thing I was thinking about, he was talking about in 55. I was like, my dad was born in 57. It's well before I was thought of.
The 59 play I was talking about, Cannon getting in on the 2-point conversion, which snapped LSU's long winning streak. They had won every game in 58 and every game up to that point in 59. And Billy Cannon, to his dying day, and he told me this personally a number of times, he got in, okay? And, of course, they didn't call it. But the 2012 BCS game.
You're going to talk about it anyway.
No, I'm going to talk about everything should be burned. I bought I bought a really nice golf shirt down there.
I had a really nice hotel room.
It was a really nice purple golf shirt with the logo of the game on it and everything else. And I don't know, what was it, $90, $80, $90,
Yeah.
$100, whatever it was. And I want to have this, threw it away. Threw it away. I mean, this is akin to, I wore it one time just for the show that we did.
Yeah.
Bought it. I didn't even charge Gordy for it. I bought it myself. Okay.
Nice.
Got home, threw it away.
My memory of that game is I flew into town. I was living in Detroit at the time. Flew in to watch my brother play. Got a nice hotel room. I had a girlfriend at the time. We were staying down there. I went to the game, and I drove back to Mississippi in the third quarter.
Oh, really?
I was so mad, and I knew I was going to get in trouble if I stayed there. I never checked out, didn't check in. I paid for it and left town before I went there.
You did smart. One more thing, and I'll quit. We did the post-game show at the Sheraton, and my wife was staying in the condo, and she calls me about 3/4 of the way through the show, and she says, "We're going home after this." I said, "Look, it's 2:30 in the morning."
She had the mindset I had.
I said, "We have it packed." She goes, "I packed in the third quarter." Okay, she goes, "I am picking you up out in front of the Sheraton. We are going home."
That's why I love your wife.
Pulled in the driveway as the sun was coming up.
Same mindset.
Enough about that game, man. Okay, Steven's in Crowley. Steven, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Thank y'all again for keeping me awake on the way home tonight. Just with the Heisman race, I know you hate that word just early in the season, but we know it's become less of an award for the best player in football and more of a promotional award, and therefore you hear the talk around the winning football teams. But what does Jaden Daniels need to do to get his name more squarely in that race? How many more games do we have to win? And who in the nation right now is playing that much better than he is? I'll hang up and listen.
Win every game. It's the only way he stays in it.
Jaden Daniels, to win the Heisman, has got to have a monster game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
That's where the Heisman can be won or lost for him. But
it also has to go with winning every other game.
Yeah, no, they do have to win the rest of the games. I agree there too. Who's playing better than him? Michael Penix is putting up ridiculous numbers at Washington. They're undefeated. They got to win against the top 10 team today. And Bo Nix played well.
Yeah.
Okay, but Penix outdid him. And if you watch that game, now Penix doesn't run at all. All of his numbers are passing. But he exhibited a lot of toughness today. They drilled him in the ribs. He was doubled over. He went out there. He led a game-winning drive. His numbers over the last 2 years, he led the nation in passing last year. He's leading the nation in passing again this year. And his team being a top 5 when the rankings come out on Monday. So who's better than Daniels right now? Penix has got a better case right now.
And we're not saying he's playing better than Daniels.
No,
he's just got a better
He's playing
record.
at least the same level as Daniels. They're putting up within 2 yards of each other per game. Now, Penix, again, it's all passing, but it's the same amount of yards.
Yeah.
It's very close. The Heisman is won and lost in November. Always has been. Burrow won the Heisman in Tuscaloosa. Leonard Fournette lost the Heisman in Tuscaloosa. If Jaden Daniels is going to make a strong bid for this, he's got to have a monster game when they go to Tuscaloosa. And that might not be enough, because if Penix runs out like this and Washington's undefeated and in the playoff and wins the Pac-12, might be a moot point. Is that? And I had somebody send me this on Twitter. Is that fair? No, but that's the award. The award goes, and I do think it goes to the best players
on the best team,
on the best teams, and you don't have to necessarily be the top team in the country, but you got to be pretty close. I know that there's been some instances where that didn't happen.
Robert Griffin,
and the year that Tebow won it was the year that they didn't win the national championship. So there've been other examples, but it's harder. It's a lot harder. If Daniels, forget about next week, those numbers aren't going to really move the needle at all. If he has a monster game in Tuscaloosa and LSU wins, and then they get into the SEC championship game, and everybody else kind of knocks each other out, like Caleb Williams, and this is not fair either, to win it again, which only one person's ever done.
10 times harder.
He was going to have to do more.
Yeah.
And Caleb Williams had what I'm pretty sure is statistically his worst game as a collegiate player.
Yeah.
He threw 3 interceptions tonight, and Notre Dame beat him from pillar to post. We watched most of that game. So he was going to have a hard time winning it again just because of the repeat factor. Tonight probably knocks him out.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the biggest games. Well, let me not completely knock him out because they've got 4 games left against ranked teams.
But being a guy that's already won it, it's knocked him out.
Right. Right now, if the vote took place today, Michael Penix would win the Heisman.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair because the kid's played great. Daniels, to get himself really squarely into the race, he's got to do it at Alabama. 499-9898. Scott is in Denham Springs. Scott, welcome into the show.
Yes, how y'all doing?
Good, Scott.
Good. All right, so somebody had called in earlier about LSU winning out and the odds of us making the playoffs. And obviously there's a whole lot of scenarios that could go into that. But I'd like to give you one specific scenario and see if y'all can tell me what y'all would think. Michigan wins the Big Ten undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Washington wins the Pac-12 undefeated. Florida State wins the ACC undefeated. LSU wins the SEC, 2-loss team. And Ohio State has 1 loss, and Georgia has 1 loss. Who gets that 4th spot?
Say Georgia right now.
No, because under that scenario, Georgia would have lost in the SEC championship game. So no. That would give Ohio State a win over Penn State. I'm trying to go with Ohio, and you're assuming that Oklahoma has lost out somewhere. They don't win the Big 12 undefeated. Okay, so you're talking about
the only teams involved.
So you're talking about a 2-loss SEC champion against a 1-loss Ohio State team that would have wins over Notre Dame, under your scenario, Penn State would be their 2 ranked wins. I think they would give LSU the nod there because that would include LSU having wins against Alabama and Georgia.
Even in a weak SEC year.
Yeah.
I feel like that hurts them.
If you dealt Georgia their only loss, if Georgia got to Atlanta 12-0 and you beat them, that would carry a lot of weight. That would carry a huge amount of weight.
So a 2-loss LSU would go over Georgia
over a
1 loss? Because
if LSU beat them, yeah.
Yeah, we've looked at this last few years. I mean, we've always said, well, if that happens, there's 2 SEC teams getting in. Not this year.
No, there's not 2 SEC teams getting this year. You're looking at strength of resume, and I'm trying to look at Notre Dame. Ohio State would have 2 top 10 wins, assuming that Penn State and Notre Dame finish somewhere close to the top 10. And LSU would have wins over Alabama, who at that point would have 2 losses, probably be right there on the fringe of the top 10, and Georgia, who would still be in the top 10 with 1 loss. The conference championship is supposed to carry some weight, though. And it would be I can't tell you for sure it would be. But
back in the day, it wasn't supposed to carry weight. I mean, the Georgia argument in 2008 was you can't hold a conference championship against us.
Right, but it's different now.
Yeah.
The playoff is different from the BCS, at least in my opinion it is. And the committee changes every year, so
it's hard to judge what the committee's going to put weight on.
It does, but they're supposed to weigh the conference championship in
the
there.
National narrative on the SEC right now is it's weak. The SEC is the weakest it's been in a long time.
It is. That's not. They're not making that up, and believe me, the rest of the country has got such SEC fatigue that it would be a wonderful thing for the rest of the country if the SEC did get shut out. And under that scenario, they could get shut out. Guys, I appreciate the conversation. They just beat a 3-3 Auburn team. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Play Army. Get a week off.
We
go
were
to Tuscaloosa.
Freaking out 2 weeks ago.
They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. We can have a legitimate conversation. And I appreciate the question.
I love it.
And it's fun talking about. But slow your roll. Just live it.
We haven't beat a great team yet.
No.
So that's where we need to just slow down.
Yeah.
We've beat okay teams so
beat
far.
Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Missouri. Missouri's 6-1. It's not bad.
But it's still when
we
you
don't
we
think
beat
the
Missouri.
Yeah, but I mean, Missouri.
We beat Missouri.
Right. Go beat Alabama, who's also not great, but
it's Alabama.
They're Alabama. That's right. And we'll get into this a little bit more seriously. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back here more. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues here as LSU wins it 48-18. Back to the LaBerge phone lines. Taylor's in South Carolina. Taylor, welcome into the show.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Good.
Well, I was contemplating Jaden Daniels' Heisman race here.
Okay.
And just wanted to see what your opinion was on what does the Heisman Trophy winner mean to y'all?
Well, I mean, it's an incredibly prestigious award, even as, I guess, politicized as it's been. But it's still the best player in college football. It's still one of the most exclusive
The best
fraternities.
player on the best team.
Yeah, well,
for the most part.
The criteria is that this is the best college football player in the country, and that's all they tell you. They don't tell you it's got to be on this team, it's got to be on that team, got to be a championship. Best college football player in the country. Vote. You can vote for a lineman if you want to. Nobody does, but you can. You vote for a defensive player. Hardly anybody ever does, but you can. This usually goes to a skill position offensive player. I know Charles Woodson won it, but that's rare. So it's an incredibly prestigious thing for the player. It's an incredibly prestigious thing for the school. I didn't know if I'd ever see one in my lifetime. I mean, I knew Billy Cannon, but I was not alive when he won the trophy, and I didn't know if LSU'd ever had one. So when Joe Burrow won it, it was, another one of my sports bucket list things. Like, hey, look, this is a great thing. Am I going to see another? You're not guaranteed to see another one. I mean, they give this thing out to one guy a year, so it's a pretty big deal.
It's a huge deal. I mean, that's as a football player growing up, you start doing the Heisman pose when you're 7 years old. I mean, it's a pose that everybody knows. It's one of those things that you look forward to see who's going to win it every year. Now, once you get more involved, I'm like, okay, there's sometimes I think players are better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But, it ends up going to a great team with a great player.
I think that when you have the Heisman Trophy winner at your school, that means something.
It does.
It's a huge, huge deal. It's something that every recruit walks by and says, that's what I aspire to.
When you look back, there's very few times you look back and say, that guy was a Heisman winner. You don't realize why he won it. Most of the times when you name that guy's name, you know exactly what happened.
It's one of the most exclusive fraternities in all of
No doubt.
all of sports. All right, let's take a look at the yardstick from tonight's game between LSU and Auburn.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day Stat Check. Presented by Luba. Luba, genuine dependability.
All right, we'll look at the yardstick. LSU 25 first downs, Auburn with 18 total yards, 563 for LSU, 293 for Auburn. That's
got to be the lowest of the year.
Pretty bad shellac, and because Grambling put up a pretty solid number in the first half there. Passing yards 325 for LSU, 154 for Auburn, 238 on the ground for LSU, 139 on the ground for Auburn. Third down efficiency, LSU was 6 out of 9 tonight. They only punted one time. Auburn 3 out of 12, and then they were 1 out of 2 on fourth down. Yards per rush, 6.1 for LSU, 4.1 for Auburn. When you outrush by 2 per, that's pretty good. Penalties was a problem. LSU had 12 tonight for 100 yards even, 5 for 42 for Auburn. LSU turned the ball over once. Auburn did not turn the ball over, and LSU had a time possession edge, 34-13 to 25-47. Individually, Jaden Daniels, 20 of 27, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Peyton Thorne, 12 of 23, 102 yards. Robbie Ashford, 3 of 4 for 52 yards and a touchdown. Logan Diggs led LSU in rushing, 18 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Jaden Daniels, 11 for 93. John Emery, 6 for 42 and a touchdown. And Josh Williams had a touchdown on just 2 carries. Jeremiah Cobb, 10 carries for 69 yards for Auburn to lead the way there. Kyron Lacey, 4 catches, 111 yards and a touchdown. Malik Neighbors, 6 for 89 and a touchdown. John Emery, 1 for 49 yards for LSU. And Brandon Frazier, 3 catches, 52 yards and a touchdown for Auburn. We told you that Bramblett punted once for 44 yards. Oscar Chapman 6 times for a 45.5-yard average for Auburn. Leading tackler, Zy Alexander for LSU, 9 tackles tonight, 2 passes defensed. Omar Spates, 8 total tackles tonight for LSU. LSU had 5 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. The sacks belonged to Harold Perkins and Makai Wingo. Over on the Auburn side, Eugene Asante, 12 tackles tonight, including a sack for Auburn. And that is your yardstick. We're back with our final scoreboard of the night. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly...
98.1. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln, on airline into the giant American flag.
Games still in progress. Boise State leads Colorado State 30-17. They're under 2 minutes to go. Colorado State ball inside the, I think they just got a pass interference call, first and goal. San Diego State leads Hawaii 27-24. That is early in the fourth quarter. And Colorado State gets in. Significant to some. Number 1, Georgia. I ain't even going to hide it. I'm pretty happy about that. All right, let's see. Where were we? Number 1, Georgia beat Vanderbilt 37-20. Kind of sleptwalk through this thing for the most part. Carson Beck threw 261 yards and a touchdown to let Vanderbilt get 13 points in the fourth quarter. Number 2, Michigan, 52-7 over Indiana. 3 touchdown passes for J.J. McCarthy. Number 3, Ohio State beat Purdue 41-7. 3 touchdown passes for Kyle McCord. Number 4, Florida State, 41-3 over Syracuse. Keon Coleman, 9 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. Number 6 Penn State beat UMass 63-0. Game of the day, number 7 Washington beat number 8 Oregon 36-33. Michael Penix had 4 touchdown passes in this game for Washington. Oregon missed a game-tying field goal at the gun. Number 21 Notre Dame pounded number 10 USC 48-20. Caleb Williams threw for 199 yards, but he threw 3 interceptions. Pretty sure that's the first time in his career he's thrown more than 2 in a game. Number 11 Alabama held off Arkansas 24-21. Jalen Milroe threw for 238 yards and a couple of scores. Number 12 North Carolina goes to 6-0. They beat number 25 Miami 41-31 despite 4 touchdown passes from Tyler Van Dyke. Some key turnovers in this ball game. Miami inside the 1-yard line of North Carolina turned the ball over. Pitt pulls the upset over number 14 Louisville, gives the Cardinal their first loss 38-21 the final there. Number 15 Oregon State moves to 6-1. They beat number 18 UCLA 36-24. Number 16 Utah beat Cal 34-14. Number 17 Duke beat NC State 24-3. Number 19 Tennessee beat Texas A&M 20-13. Max Johnson threw a couple of interceptions for Texas A&M. Arizona, big number over number 19 Washington State 44-6. I think his first name is it Nick? It's Noah Fifta, the backup quarterback for Arizona, threw for 342 yards. Oklahoma State beat number 23 Kansas 39-32 despite 5 touchdown passes from Jason Bean. Missouri beat number 24 Kentucky 38-21. Brady Cook only 168 yards, but it was enough for Mizzou to get home. Rutgers scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to beat Michigan State 27-24. Iowa State beat Cincinnati 30-10. It was North Texas over Temple 45-14. James Madison pounded Georgia Southern 41-13. They are 6-0 and 3-0 in the Sun Belt. Eastern Michigan beat Kent State 28-14. It was Navy over Charlotte 14-zip. Toledo beat All State 13-6. Troy over Army 19-0. Army 2-4. They will be at Tiger Stadium next week. Illinois beat Maryland 27-24. It was Florida over South Carolina 41-39. Graham Mertz threw for 423 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Gators. Virginia Tech beat Wake Forest 30-13. TCU over BYU 44-11. Florida Atlantic beat South Florida 56-14. Central Michigan over Akron 17-10. Bowling Green beat Buffalo 24-14. Miami of Ohio over Western Michigan 34-21. Iowa moves to 6-1. How in the world is Iowa 6-1? They beat Wisconsin today 15-6. Boy, I bet that was exciting. 6-1 is 6-1.
2000s football.
Yes, that's Flintstones football. Northern Illinois beat Ohio 23-13. It was UNLV over Nevada 45-27. San Jose State beat New Mexico 52-24. Kansas State over Texas Tech 38-21. Georgia State beat Marshall 41-24. Texas State edged UL Monroe 21-20. It was Air Force over Wyoming 34-27. Air Force now 6-0 on the season. And UTSA beat UAB 41-20. Homecoming at Southern University night out on the Bluff. Southern beat Lincoln of California. Final score there was 45-18. And Alabama A&M beat Grambling 45-24. And that is your college football scoreboard. Back with Game Balls. That's next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game balls. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team. WCK Foundation Repair.
All right, you're first. Who you want?
Aaron Lacey. He deserved it tonight. Had his biggest receiving game. You know, he struggled early on in the year. Played big in non-noticeable roles the last couple of weeks, but the football gods blessed him tonight.
That's a good pick. 4 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown tonight. I'm going to go with Zy Alexander.
Yeah,
he 9 total tackles tonight, a couple of PBUs, and let's be honest, the secondary has taken more than their fair share of criticism.
He turned his head and played the ball tonight, and an honorary one for Jaden Daniels. He slid 3 times tonight, stepped out of bounds twice. I mean, I think he did everything the coaches wanted him to do tonight.
The guy's over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns, and we're
I'm gonna give it to
excited
him for sliding.
Yes, for getting down,
Yeah.
for essentially giving yourself up. Daniels, we do the game ball segment. We could give Daniels a game ball every
week. Yeah.
He's been that good, and an attaboy to John Emery, who could have
big play in the pass game tonight, broke one for 40 plus. It was a surprise to me, him getting back in the game and then getting used as much as he did. We kind of wondered where he was the last couple of weeks. They weren't giving the opportunities,
Right.
and then he was given the opportunity tonight, made some big plays.
It's easy to quit. It's easy to pout.
Very easy.
It's hard to stick it out, and not be the star. But
that's something to me to what Brian Kelly's doing in the locker room. to have a guy like that who's been here for 4 years. I mean, I was there when he did his recruiting deal on air when he was playing in high school. He's like, I'm going to LSU for the next 3 years. To be here now and still playing like that and still giving that effort, I mean, it's big.
The day game against Georgia was what swung him.
Yeah.
Remember the game?
That's when he flipped his commitment.
He flipped his commitment. Yeah, sure did. All right, we'll take a break, come back, wrap things up. LSU wins at 48-18, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day wrapping up here as LSU wins it by 30 tonight over Auburn. Tomorrow, football Sunday on ESPN Radio here in Baton Rouge will be from the Beau Rivage tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Live at lunch on Monday. We'll include the Brian Kelly press conference also on ESPN Baton Rouge. Next week, LSU and Army in the final game before LSU will get a 1 week bye, and then Alabama. Final score once, and oh, by the way, Saints tomorrow against the Texans. You can get that on Eagle 98.1 as well. That game time is at. Did they score? Are you kidding me? Did Colorado State just throw a Hail Mary to? Wow.
Tie it up.
They went 85 yards in a couple. Oh, wow. Now they got to kick the extra point. They got to back it up. Oh, wow. Okay, well.
Way to end the show
Yeah, we were all ready to end the show. But Colorado State, who was down, was 17-0 at the half and was down 30-17 with a minute and a half to go.
I feel like
just went about 85 yards in 4 plays.
Last time I paid attention, we said it was over.
Well, then they threw the flag.
Yeah.
It was 4th down. They were going to kneel it out. And there was a play that Boise State was going to run it out. They had a holding penalty. So instead of a first down to run out the clock, they backed them up.
Well, then let's keep the show going another 30 minutes.
What is this penalty here?
It's going to be excessive celebration.
It must be, which means they're going to have to kick the extra point from 15 yards further away. Cannot believe that they have pulled off this many.
No way. It's the
knock it down.
Deflection pass.
Wow. Okay. So Boise State, as best I can describe this, Boise State's trying to knock the ball down. They knock it right to the trailer.
It worked as designed.
On the play. Well, yeah.
That's the design.
You got
right
the trailer, coming down there, and the whole scrum. He catches the ball. They threw the flag. I got to tell you, I'm keeping the flag in my pocket there for excessive celebration, huh?
It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
When that play hits,
so it's 30-30 now. It's kind of a big extra point, wouldn't you say?
It's huge. Every guy practices. When you run that play with 2 minutes left in practice, and when you're the trailer, you're like, God dang it, I don't want to be the trailer. And this is the time that guy gets some love.
So the call on the field, they're going back to look at it, but he caught it.
He caught it. I mean,
he caught it, and then you're going to
have as long as the offensive lineman, nobody was offsides. This is
I'm trying to see where the flag came in. It looks like it came in after the excessive celebration. This is not your Gordon variety. This is really 2 Hail Marys because they completed about a 50-yard pass with 15 seconds to go just to get in position to throw this Hail Mary from about the 35-yard. I think the line of scrimmage was a 30. And he threw this ball from somewhere just outside the 35-yard. The entire crew was all ready to go home, and now we're into it, right?
Shoot, I was about to fall asleep and I'm awake again.
Okay. By the way, while they're reviewing this thing, happy birthday to your son. Jackson turns 6 tomorrow.
Jackson Dixon turns 6 tomorrow.
He's not awake right now, but shout out.
If he's awake, we're going to have some discussion.
Right. Well, show him the film tomorrow of this. Okay. We're gonna stick with you here for just a couple more minutes to see if we can get the end of this Boise State Colorado State game.
What a way to end the show!
Yeah,
it was about to wrap it up.
I look up. Well, we're doing the wrap up, and this is for everybody out there that's driving or listening that has no way to watch the.
There's still football being played.
If they go to overtime, I'm not sticking around for that. But let's see if they. All right, here's the ruling on the field. The ruling on the field is a touchdown. And did they pick up the flag? They should have picked up the flag.
They better.
I think they picked up the flag. So now all they got to do is kick an extra point, and Colorado State is going to have one of the most improbable comebacks in the last 2 minutes.
Why do they keep going back to
it? I think they're just showing it again. Colorado State, who I think had something like 20 total yards in the first half. They were completely taken out of it.
Do you have money on this game? You've been talking about it.
I don't like to talk about it, stuff like that, but yeah, I might have had Colorado State in the point. No, they moved it back. This is a 35-yard extra point. Let's see if it snaps. Ball's down. The kick is right down the middle. Colorado State wins it. Wow. All right. You'll see this one all over SportsCenter in the morning. All right. From all of us here at the flagship, I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good evening. LSU wins it 48-18. It's been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.